All right. Happy New Year. Hello, everyone. John Catanzaro, President, Lodge 7, Chicago. I just wanted to obviously maintain the commitment of this YouTube channel being a Friday regular feature going forward, starting in 2021. So, no better day than January 1st. The theme of this channel is going to be a little different than the general meetings or the board meetings as far as information goes. There's obviously certain information I'm not going to put out on public airwaves, but I will say that we're going to highlight the hard work men and women across this department do on a daily basis, remote location broadcast, live broadcast, etc. It's going to be every Friday afternoon, early evening, whatever the case may be, as time permits, but hopefully it gets a little traction and actually highlights how amazing our members are on a daily basis. You know, this city is experiencing a ridiculous surge in violence during COVID, no less, when this virus was supposed to be forcing people to stay home more than ever before. 55% increase, almost 800 homicides in this city in 2020. This mayor is a failure. They have no answers. You know, I like the superintendent, but to say 300 homicides, they just don't get what the problem is. Yesterday, along Michigan Avenue, there was a march by Father Faker himself, the race-baiting glory hound. And he said that, you know, that the violence in Chicago was a treatable public health crisis. Well, it is treatable. Keep offenders in jail. Send them to prison. Do not let them out. It is pretty easy to treat that. You know, sadly, there's a lot of talk about the police being at blame for everything. If you look at the homicide victims in this city on a map, and you take where Kim Foxx's votes came from in the last election, it's almost an identical map. I don't know what it's going to take for politicians to finally speak some truth. These are not offenders coming from the middle of nowhere. Again, I've said it time and time again. They're not coming down from outer space. They're putting their head down in pillow in these neighborhoods. That's just the truth. People are looking the other way. And you shouldn't have to wait until someone's a shooter in order to give them up. Give them up when they're doing illegal crap. That's how you stop this violence. You can't keep just accepting criminal behavior as normal way of life. Again, that's on them. We're going to keep doing our job. We're going to keep obviously arresting people, confiscating guns to record levels. Sooner or later, this has to sink in. There has to be a change. Sadly, the violence has given the mayor a distraction, and that distraction, unfortunately, is now this very good warrant that was served. Again, it didn't look good. They never look good. Arrests usually don't look good. Use of force almost never looks good. Shootings never look good, no matter how perfect they are in defense of life or someone else's. But again, they want to throw the police under the bus every single time in order to distract from their failures. It's no irony that the release of all the body cam footage that the superintendent put out and the mayor's cries for justice and her public meeting, or private meeting, I should say, with the subject. I don't even want to call her a victim because there really was nothing to be a victim of. But let's just move on because I know people are going to try and turn this into a race thing. The reality is those officers at worst got bad information. Okay, there's ways to fix that. But naked people are just, sadly, a reality of police work on a regular basis. I've seen my share of naked people in the course of my business as a police officer in 25 years. Again, it's going to be more and more on body cam. When is this going to stop? This nonsense, this distraction. Now, she's going to have her little, lapdog, Sydney Roberts at COPA, expedite this investigation and hammer these police officers, just like she tried to do with that Hollywood BS, publicity stunt she did at headquarters when the Bobby Rush popcorn and coffee gate took off. Over our dead body. We're not going to just let our officers be steamrolled and used as scapegoats to distract from the simple fact that the mayor lied yet again for I don't even know how many time, and she's an attorney. The ARDC should revoke her law license effective immediately because she has no honor whatsoever. I mean, to call her Your Honor is kind of ironic to say the least. But, those emails were released in the morning. The body cam footage of the police throwing them under the bus was that afternoon and early evening. This is the same, administration and the same people, actually, players. So in that email chain was the mayor and her chief of staff, Maurice. Those were the same two people that were in a CTU email chain, along with the labor attorney, Mike Frisch, taking bets on how long the teacher strike was going to last, as if it was a joke and something to be laughing about. Again, but that just went by the wayside. There was never any second consideration given to that conversation. No big deal, just usual. Rules for thee and rules for me. This dynamic needs to change. Our members have been without a contract for 3.5 years, and it's used to be Rom's fault. Now it's this mayor's fault. She has done nothing to forward the negotiations at all. We've negotiated in good faith in every single session that we've participated in. And the last 3 of them have been by Zoom meeting, which I found rather ironic because the city's team is afraid to negotiate in person because members of our team had contracted COVID. But yet it's okay for our members to be subjected to training and put in classrooms. That's okay. Well, negotiations are not going to be via Zoom anymore. If our members are going to be forced to go to training, socially distancing, masks, all that good stuff, we can negotiate with those same guidelines, and that's going to be obviously the path forward on that end of it. There's some more important things, and I think this is part and parcel why negotiations have dragged out. And when we negotiate, I can tell you, we bring our topics forth, and they get listened to. Maybe some notes here and there, some head nods, some winks, some okay, like they're really considering what you're saying, and on to the next topic. When we discuss the city's requests and proposals, there is legitimate back and forth. There is movement. There is counter proposals. That doesn't happen when it's ours. They just don't negotiate our points and our requests. So, and what they do on top of that, they decided to pull another publicity stunt. The mayor has good old Sydney Roberts, and then the police board, which are all her employees, announced that I'm going to have a termination case now. The chief negotiator for this lodge is now supposedly going to be fired by the police department when they know 100% they can't do that. I'm on a leave of absence. They cannot discipline me while I'm here. So it was all smoke and mirrors BS. But yet they wanted to put it out there just to muddy the waters, to try and make negotiations that much more ridiculous and make us look like the bad people, me specifically. It's really disgusting that that's what passes for leadership in this city today. But again, 2 more years and she'll be gone. No way she gets reelected. Let me touch on something more important, and it piggybacks off of negotiations. The House in Springfield has decided to call a lame duck session, January 8th. There was some back and forth on whether this was going to happen, regrettably, between the Attorney General, Kwame Raoul, the Governor's Office, the Black Caucus. They are putting forth their version of police reforms. And they're going to try and hammer this through in the dead of the night. And I think the mayor absolutely is waiting to see what happens, because it might make her negotiations that much easier if they're successful to push this crap through in Springfield. But I can tell you, there was a coalition, a law enforcement coalition, down in Springfield. It consists of myself, the FOP State President, Chris Southwood, the Director of the Joint Labor Council for the FOP, Sean Rosenlieb, the Sheriff's Association, the Chiefs Association, and our lobbyists. And we've been working for well over a year now, trying to come up with modernization plans for policing in Illinois. And I've said it, it's part of our package. It's on the website if you want to look at what we're trying to propose, that we've been left off of this discussion intentionally. The sheriffs and the chiefs were part of these discussions with the Attorney General, the Governor's Office, etc. They were allowed to be in committee meetings. We were not. They didn't want the FOP involved because they don't want loud, hard, factual pushback. But that doesn't mean we're going away. We will be down there January 8th letting these lawmakers know that these reforms are as off the charts ridiculous as can possibly be. And they're not only going to make policing impossible in the near future and going forward, it's going to make every community that much less safe in this city and in this state. That's why we came up with our own proposals for modernization. And I've said it as an example, when you do tax reform, you bring in tax attorneys and financial, professionals. That's not the case here. They're bringing everybody but law enforcement officials to this party, just trying to do the most ridiculous things. Get rid of qualified immunity, get rid of the anonymous complaints. The 3 phone calls, 1 hour after taking someone into custody, thanks to our public defender. Again, these are the people who have absolutely ruined and crushed any form of law and order and civilized society in this city, this county, and this state. And that's who's drafting these bills down in Springfield. So I don't know what January 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th is going to hold, but you can rest assured we're going to be down there fighting tooth and nail to make sure the politicians down there know these are non-starters. We want to be part of a discussion. We're not tone deaf. We hear the public cry that things need to change, but we are willing to obviously submit changes, and we think they're very effective changes. And taking the victims into consideration is something that they don't even talk about, but it's the number 1 item on our agenda. So with that, I'm going to kind of cut out here. I promise next week will be a little better quality video because I'm still working out the bugs in the new equipment. Again, thanks for your time and attention. Make sure you call your state senator, your state representative. Make sure your relatives call and just hound them, bombard their phone lines, email, whatever you have to do, and let them know that if anything gets discussed in that lame duck session, it needs to be the Illinois Law Enforcement Coalition proposal, period. Not anything else, because law enforcement will be dead in Illinois. Thank you. Have a good night.